All right, we're live, guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome, everyone. This is Jeffrey Jewett, the CEO of Fiber, and I will let him introduce himself because obviously he knows him better than I do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, Jeff, CEO of Fiber. Fiber's a Web3 development studio. We're also the creators of the project, formerly known as Shillex, as well as the agency Promote3, and most recently, the founders of Infinite Chain, which is going to be launching the Neutronium chain here before the end of the year. So, lots of things going on. We've got a large team. We've scaled pretty rapidly up to about 18 people over the last 90 days, and here to, really really build an entire platform and ecosystem of businesses to be able to further develop in the space.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, I saw that thing. It was very interesting. I went to the website, and you guys have a lot going on there. I see all these apps and dApps and airdrops, all kinds of things. I mean, what is that exactly? If someone's looking at a website like, oh, what is this? Like, what is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So our sweet spot is really helping projects to be able to kind of manifest their ideas and their roadmaps into reality. So really, these are really the utilities that businesses need to be able to operate, but also building custom utilities for them to be able to differentiate in the marketplace. And so you can think about things like we created the first affiliate marketing platform for DeFi. We're creating a tipping platform for esports that allows crypto. We're creating the first e-commerce, fully API-driven swag stores that allow for people to purchase within their associated crypto project currencies. We're building escrow services for being able to manage peer-to-peer transactions, both as an API and as a deep integration. So, long story short, it's a little bit of everything. It's anything
Right.
that could have been done in Web 2, built onto the blockchain and incorporating crypto, and really helping people turn those ideas into reality.
Okay, gotcha. So you guys are more like, I would say, maybe a consulting services where you kind of dev their dreams into reality in a sense. Is that kind of what I'm taking away from this?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Fiber, it's really about like everything from the smart contract to the utility, turning those into reality. With Promote3, it's really about helping them to market those services and make sure that they have the right eyeballs on it to be able to make it go big. With Shillex, it's about creating an affiliate network of influencers to help you to promote your project. So it's a little bit of everything. And then with Infinite Chains, it's about arming organizations with eco-friendly blockchain to be able to power their infrastructure. So really is a little bit of everything, and brought in experts in every one of the fields to be able to help people to execute on those ideas.
Okay. Very interesting. So, quick question. So how many projects have you, I guess, helped realize their dreams exactly? Have I heard easy 40
Yeah, so
projects?
we don't disclose that number publicly,
Oh,
and we
okay.
don't necessarily always disclose all of our clients either. But we
Okay.
have a handful of clients that are listed on our website. Like we're working with Reflex and
Oh,
Glow and Enhance, and today we worked with Blockbusters. We work with quite a few different projects to do a lot of interesting
oh,
things.
right. You know what? Speaking of Blockbuster, what's that all about?
You want to know about how today went, or you want to know about the project?
A little bit of both. I guess how the project went. Was you guys deving it, and then today's whole fiasco. I mean, obviously you would know more than I would, right? Because if
Yep.
you help them out create stuff, so
Yeah, absolutely. So Blockbuster is an idea that Don ideated about 8 months ago. The idea was to be able to reward and really his favorite projects. Don is a trusted source of information in the space, and people were constantly asking him, like, hey, what are you buying in? What are you liking? So he saw an opportunity to really provide a contract that allowed people to get the projects that he likes. And so he actually had gone to about 6 or 7 other developers prior to us to try to see if somebody could build it. Everybody said no, that it was going to be impossible. We don't take anything as impossible. Maybe we should have listened a little bit, but
yeah.
we helped him to build it. He ended up launching today. Well, first of all, he had a pre-sale. It did about 1.5 million in pre-sale.
Wow.
Pretty massive pre-sale. Today it was turned on. It did about $7 million in volume.
Wow.
So the largest largest day in SafeMoon swap history, also one of the largest pre-sales in Binance history, or excuse me, launch days in Binance history. So really that's a testament to Don and the brand that he's built and the communities that he's been able to bring together. With respect to the launch itself, when you're reflecting 8 different tokens, there's a ton of gas on each one of those different tokens. And so, we're not responsible for those tokens or for their gas efficiency. And so what happened was after launch, the amount of rewards and distributions that needed to happen were pretty significant. And so what we ended up having to do was essentially disable the distributor. And once we disabled the distributor, basically sales were able to happen. So before we disabled the distributor, too much gas was building up that it couldn't execute. Once we disabled the distributor, the gas was able to execute. Well, somebody, they're not a bad actor per se, because they're just trying to sell their bag, but somebody was using a bot to basically wait for that opening to be able to do a big sell. And so somebody tried to sell about $1.2 million worth of Blockbuster all at once, and they used a bot to essentially front run that sell. But what they didn't know is that in our contract, we have a front running functionality that's designed specifically to prioritize the distribution of rewards. And so when that buy triggered, that person basically got penalized for trying to do such a massive buy and basically paid for the distribution of everybody's buys up until that point. And so that $1.5 million buy netted that individual about $22,000 and basically moved, $1.2 million into the distributor wallet, which is still fully functioning, but the actual distribution portion was disabled to reduce the gas. And so that allowed the market to start trading. Obviously, when somebody sells $1.5 million on a $2 million of liquidity, that brings it closer back to market price. There was a lot of people that tried to buy between market launch price and the big run up that happened. And so the way that that's being solved is that if you look at the contract, the team actually retained about 50% of the total supply in the number one wallet. And so they're actually going to use that wallet to send out rewards to every single not rewards. They're going to use that wallet to actually send out an associated supply of Blockbuster token to every single person that bought between launch price and the run up. So they basically got the launch price value. So everybody's basically, once this is all said and done, everybody's going to either have one of two prices: the pre-sale price, which is 16% below the market rate, or they're going to have the market rate price, which is 16% higher. And an associated supply with it. Anybody that's been buying and trading since that big $1.2 million buy, that's on them. But up until that point, everybody's going to get corrected. Then what's going to happen is after everybody has the right number of supply, they're going to go and drop $1.2 million worth of rewards, and those $1.2 million worth of rewards basically distributed, and this just as though the distributor normally would have functioned. It's going to operate just like normal, except for they're going to pay the gas fees on that. And we can pay the gas fees manually once. Then lastly, what's going to happen is there's about $800,000 in the marketing wallet, and there's another probably $300,000 or $400,000 that's available from the original pre-sale. Don't quote me on those exact numbers. And so we're gonna use that to basically do liquidity injections to get the price get the price action moving again once we have everybody kind of where they need to be. So I know a lot of people flooded it. A lot of people had concerns, rightfully so. Like anytime something looks like a rug, like there's always going to be red alarms. But in this case, Don didn't want bot mitigation. It wasn't part of his strategy. He was a big believer in just like DeFi operating as DeFi, and bots are a big part of the ecosystem. In this case, we had a safeguard in place that wasn't necessarily designed for bot mitigation, that just so happened to mitigate this bot. So we're grateful for our dev having put that function in place. We're grateful that we have the funds. Having spoken with Don, he's super excited that like, although it was a rough couple of hours, what we're going to end up with is essentially the most fair launched project you've ever seen, because everybody's going to end up with everybody's going to end up with a fair sized bag at launch now, based on pre-sale or launch value. And so, the people that are upset about today, they're only upset because they thought they were instantly a millionaire because their wallet told them they were a millionaire. The fact is that there was only $2 million in liquidity. That could have made a total of 2 millionaires. And yet there's thousands of holders, of which hundreds of them thought they were instantly millionaires today. So it's just a flaw in the way that we think about and associate value with DeFi projects. If this had been based on pure liquidity pool, which is the true value of a project, everybody's bag would have been significantly lower than even the market rate. But it is what it is. We're excited about watching this thing. This being more of a long-term play and not a short-term pump and dump, which I know so many people like. All these degens love, but that's not how Don envisioned his project, which is also why he didn't seed it with all of his liquidity up front. He wanted to seed it strategically just in case a scenario like this happened. So we'll see.
Oh, wow. So I guess long story short, you're saying that everything's A-okay, it's not a rug pull, and everyone should be cool, right? That's kind of takeaway?
Yeah, some people will still be disappointed because they had hoped for a large supply, they had hoped for a large run up today. But it's the problem with DeFi. It's the degens wanting to degen, and I get it. Everybody here wants to make a quick buck. The problem is that what people don't realize is that you're making a quick buck, or anybody's making a quick buck on a DeFi launch, is you actually taking money from other holders, right? Like if you're 25 minutes into a pump and everybody stops buying for some reason, and there's no more money, there's a bank run that happens, and very quickly that gets depleted, and people don't realize that, and it's unfortunate, and it is what it is.
And it looks bad for the project, right? Especially you're a dev, you're like, oh my god, this guy rugged us again or whatever. So I totally get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
in fact, this bot tried to. I wouldn't call it a rug, but they because a rug means essentially stealing the liquidity, but they definitely tried to dump the project down to essentially nothing. And in this case, our contract caught it. And everything will get redistributed, by the end of the day tomorrow.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So hopefully there's communications with them and everything will sort out. Just maybe a bad launch or bad execution, but overall it'll be okay. Just give it some time, guys. That kind of deal, right?
Yep, exactly.
I see. Well, I mean, so also I noticed that, you're saying Unite DeFi, right? And are you the leader of the whole Unite DeFi kind of movement or something, or?
So no, yes. I mean, no and yes. I mean, I would say.
I'm just asking.
I guess what I would say is that, like, February or so earlier this year, I started using the term uniting DeFi, and then I think my friend Chris started talking about, he's got his Unify DeFi. I don't know what all everybody's hashtags. I'm terrible at this stuff, but there was Unify DeFi. There's a Unite DeFi. There's uniting DeFi.
Right.
Chris with MetaBUSD was really big on it. He's got a big group of projects, about 18 or so of them that are involved in his community. Nobility started doing a lot of really cool spaces around the same kind of theme. And then, I was obviously doing some early interviews and stuff like that on Twitter Spaces.
Right.
And so, I think a lot of people like to pretend like I'm the head of that movement would be incorrect. I think there's a lot of people that had a very similar idea and saw the opportunity to be able to do something interesting in the space.
Right.
In terms of like the Neutronium chain, which is very much pushing the Unite DeFi movement and bringing projects together, I do not actually hold a formal position in that organization. So I did bring leaders together to be able to run it. But I have no vote. I carry no weight other than the fact that I brought people together and they asked me for some advice and stuff like that. But Neutronium and Chain was designed, was an idea that I had brought to some projects to see if they wanted to run with, which was really all about being able to actually be the first DeFi chain to launch on infinite chains, which is my infrastructure. So
Okay.
Because of my desire to run infinite chains, I have to be removed from Neutronium chain.
Right.
Just it doesn't fit what I'm trying to do with my career and what I'm trying to do with the play. But I did meet some wonderful people that are very passionate about DeFi, that are wanting to build a massive chain and then bring projects together. And so I have to I needed to be able to I wanted to be able to set them up to be able to have that, and also selfishly wanted to be able to really put the infinite chains infrastructure to the test at high volume. So I obviously have a vested interest in the success of that chain, but I can't be actively involved in the decisions that are made or anything else on that.
Gotcha. So is Neutronium chain built off of Affinity chain? Is that kind of what I'm getting at here, or?
No. So Infinite Chains is just it's basically an infrastructure company. So it's a collaboration between two companies that don't need the recognition.
Oh,
I got a call come in. That are basically trying to come together and basically take the solar powered infrastructure data storage solution, and build a blockchain on top of it, and allow basically any project, specifically Web 2 companies that are trying to come to Web 3 to be able to launch blockchains that are aligned with their core competency.
Right. Okay. So you're saying Neutronium chain is totally separate and not even related to Affinity? I guess in terms of tech, like you guys aren't like sharing this tech with them or something. It's something completely different.
I thought you had said something else. Yeah, so they are leveraging our technology.
Okay.
We're giving them exclusivity to launch a DeFi blockchain, because we don't have any interest in launching a DeFi blockchain. We have
right.
Yeah, like we have interest in launching a blockchain for live TV streaming. We have an interest in launching a blockchain for large gaming companies and large e-commerce companies, and switching architecture infrastructure from AWS to the blockchain in a eco-friendly fashion. Those are the types of business opportunities we're looking for.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they are using the Affinity chain tech. Okay, gotcha. I was like, wait, what? They're not? I thought they were, but
You said Affinity. You said Affinity. I didn't know if Affinity was something else. But Infinite.
Infinite.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was some Affinity blockchain that I wasn't familiar with, so I was taking it literally.
My bad. I misspoke, but that's what I meant, though. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So you're basically the guy in the background, kind of creating all the infrastructure, right? And hey, guys, use my platform for this and that. You can use it. You can leverage it for this purpose or that purpose. Okay, got it. Okay, that's a pretty cool play. And then you guys can do whatever you want on the chain. You can whatever, right? Because gas so cheap, you can leverage it, do this and that. Any kind of potential problems come to me, and I'll work with you for a solution, right? Is that the kind of like the idea, I suppose?
Yeah, so we basically built this team of projects that are operating as a DAO, and they have the ability to operate and vote on really anything within the blockchain. So they can vote on, like, is it gasless? Is it not gasless? Are there fees? When do the fees get applied? When do they not get applied? Does it have global tokenomics or local tokenomics? Does it have bridging? Where does it bridge to? Are there going to be layer 2s on it, or is it just a layer 1 solution? Right. Those are all things that they can decide. Also, each of the projects get an associated percentage of the supply of the Neutronium coin, which is I'm not announcing the name of it yet, but the Neutronium coin, for lack of a better term. And then that Neutronium coin is given to them along with a set number of nodes that they'll be able to sell, and they'll be able to use the funds from both of those things to benefit their communities, as well as to build solutions on the blockchain. So that's how they're incentivized, and that's how their communities are incentivized.
Right. Okay. That's kind of interesting. But the whole notion of Unite DeFi, while it makes sense, at the same time, it doesn't make sense, right? Because because if you're all chasing this, if you're all chasing the same dollars here, right? And there's like 5 or 6 heads, you're splitting the same dollar like 6 ways now. So what does that really mean for the average crypto investor? If you're investing, you see, okay, we're seeing all these people come together, but what does it really mean? You know, like I don't get it. Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, how would you explain that?
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at Binance, I mean, Binance does 20 billion, right?
Right.
The average one of the projects like on Binance is doing something like, you know, you look at these projects, they're doing 10. We have projects that have been around for a year, like that are doing $10,000 a day in volume, right? We've got projects that are a bit larger, doing, you know, $60,000 in volume, and they're hyped right now. Like it's pretty insignificant volume, right? And so, you know, we even have projects that are doing like a few $100,000 a day in volume, and those are like massive projects that are getting like lots of attention, and yet still those numbers are super insignificant, right? Like none of these projects are getting rich off that. I mean, in fact, you know, listening to projects like Evergrow having to put a freeze on their ability to spend because they're out of money. I believe that's the case. Don't quote me on that. I don't know that as a fact, but
right. Of course. But
like you're hearing a lot of these horror stories of projects not having the capital to be able to invest in the things that they want to be able to do because they don't have enough volume and they're terrified of the market. And so, you know, with all these projects coming together, it's not, you know, 1 + 1 is 2. It's 1 + 1 is 3 because now these two projects are working together to spread the word, right? And it's them working together that's going to generate that. That's going to generate that third person coming in, right? And you start to compound that across all these different teams and all these different projects. People ask like, oh, well, how did you choose like 3 random projects like Reflex and, you know, Meta BUSD and Enhance? It's like, well, they're naturally a good fit, not because they're naturally a good fit. They're naturally a good fit because they're completely opposite leaders with completely opposite communities and completely opposite styles. And it's the convergence of those kind of disparate communities that's going to allow for the widespread adoption of this chain. And it's why we're excited about like bringing together this diverse pool of projects. And so that's the first thing. The second part of your question is like, how does the average holder benefit? The average holder benefits because like the coin on the chain becomes a medium of exchange, not only for the layer 1, but for all the subsequent layer 2s that they roll on. Right. And so now if like, let's say Nobility was involved and they wanted to go and launch an esports gaming streaming chain as a layer 2 on it, they could go and launch that chain, have it operate completely independently of layer 1. And yet layer 1 can still benefit from all of the volume on the layer 2, because it's using the like essentially a wrapped version of the Neutronium coin and all the transactions, right? And so the possibilities are essentially infinite in terms of what can be built on that architecture. And at the end of the day, every single project that comes onto the chain, depending on when they come on the chain, gets a portion of the supply of the coin. And that portion of the supply of the coin is their way of benefiting from everything that happens on that blockchain. And that's a big difference. That's a big difference between something like Binance, where, you know, you're having to buy your way in, and then you're going to have to pay all of these different parties to be able to do all these different things. It's like, no, we're going to launch this thing. We're going to launch infinite chains, and then part of infinite chains, we're going to build all of the associated utilities with it, all of which can be cloned by the Neutronium team, so that they can bring to market basically everything that's needed, everything from price listings to the scanner to the DEX to the swap. All of those tools will already have been built, and all of them will be available, and all of those are going to benefit the coin, and they're not going to benefit some arbitrary independent project. They're going to benefit the coin, and that coin's going to benefit the holders. And the sooner that projects get involved, the more of the supply of the coin that they'll get.
Gotcha.
And so there's an incentive for more people to come together more quickly.
So it sounds like you guys, well, I guess Infinite Chains and Fiber here, right, on your 2 projects or companies, it looks like you guys are kind of creating all the white label services and products here, right? So if you guys want to use it, click a button, and boom, it's yours now, right? You know, put your images or whatever, you know, parameters, and booyah, it's good to go, quote unquote, instantly. So that's kind of what your role is here, right? And what you're and kind of what you're kind of be, I guess, doing in this case.
So in this case, like we started.
Is that a correct like assessment of you know what I'm hearing and understanding from you?
Yeah, that's a correct assessment. I mean, also we work with projects on taking ideas and utilities that they have and bring those to light as well.
Right,
fully,
right,
whether
right.
a modification of something we built or something fully custom. But yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Very interesting. Well, you know what, Jeffrey, I didn't have a very smart idea on your end, because I always see these projects here, right? You know, white papers, yeah, DApp coming soon, DEX coming soon. You know what? Why not call Jeffrey here? Go Fiber, and boom, you can get it like in next day or something, right? Or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's rapidly deployable. So that's a very smart thing on your end. I can see why you want to keep the thing separate from Neutronium and you want to do your own thing. I can see why not. That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, because if you've listened to any of my old spaces and stuff like that, or interviews that have been done with me,
right?
Like my whole idea, the reason Fiber got started was because I was tired of projects kept talking about the same shitty utilities over and over again, and nobody was doing them right, and they like everybody was talking about the same thing, and so I talked about the commoditization of dApps within the space. And so that's what we decided to do, is like, let's just take all these things and make them white labelable, and then use that code as like a jumping off point for building custom
utilities. And do it right. Most important, keep a standard here, right? So when people see Fiber or they see this thing here, they, oh, you know what, makes a lot of sense. I know it's gonna work. You know, it's not gonna like screw me over. It's not some malicious code. I know this is good because you guys made it. I like that. You know, that actually makes a lot of sense and a really good thing to do.
I appreciate that.
But my only question is that how do people know it's created by Fiber here? So say for example, I have a Mario company here or Mario crypto here, right? And I use you guys right here, right? And I white label your swap or DEX or whatever here, right? And I use it, but nowhere does it say powered by Fiber or something, right? So people are gonna think, oh, it's like Mario created it, this dapper or swap or whatever. So how do people know that it's still like quality product from you guys? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So part of our strategy is to put our logo on the bottom corner of certain things. I think you're looking at it from the lens of Reflex, because I know
just in general, really, yeah.
But no, so in general, we put like the Reflex logo on the corner of certain things. It's really at the client's discretion if they think that adds value or not. Reflex, for example, is very protective of their branding and their image and the look of their things. And you know, earlier on in our relationship, they had specifically said like, hey, if we did some design ourselves, like, do we have to put your logo on? I said, no, only if you think it adds value. And so as we've gotten to know the team better and as we've gotten to be more ingrained in their team, their attitude has definitely shifted about that. But you know, we're also busy building things. Like, it's not a priority for us for them to put the logo down there. It's not a priority for them to put the logo down there. It's just like, and I, if anybody that follows my relationship with Miles or you know, Floodhound or anything, you know, there's nothing. Not like they're hiding it. It's not like we're hiding it. We're kind of synonymous with Reflex, and so that's not the only case. Versus somebody like Enhance, through you know, Enhance will gladly put our logo on absolutely anything we put out there. You know, and part of that is that they're the first to admit that, you know, they didn't have as many technical resources on their team coming into this, and so bringing in more technical resources and having our brand to be able to reinforce those technical resources was important to them. And like, you know, Bitburn will have their swap coming out, and when their swap comes out, it'll have our logo in the corner, just as an example.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I'm just looking at your website right now. You know what I mean? I see all these widgets and stuff, all these kind of different, you know, apps and dApps, like you mentioned. I thought, oh, okay, that's very cool. I like that. It's very cool. And also, play to earn games. I mean, usually making games is a pretty large endeavor. I can't imagine that. I guess you could reskin it, right? And, you know, whatever you want to do for the most part. But I would imagine it'll be a large endeavor, though.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about what we're doing with play to earn games is we have a library of them that have already been built, and then we also have a games engine. So we built a series of smart contracts that manage everything from upgradability to attributes to you know, microtransactions, everything that somebody would need within a game. We have an engine that manages all that, and so it basically allows us to kind of modify that engine and integrate it into like a Unity game or any kind of game to be able to make it more usable.
Wow. That's actually pretty cool, actually. I can see you guys being the next big thing behind the scenes that no one knows about, but yet you're powering the whole Web3 revolution is kind of what I'm kind of seeing here for you guys. At least I think that's kind of the route you want to take. I'm assuming.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe in 90 days or something like that, we'll have a big announcement about a game company we're working with. Who knows? But there's definitely lots of cool stuff in the works, and you don't know much about me probably unless you looked at my LinkedIn, but I worked for 5 of the fastest growing tech companies in the world. All of them grew to over $1 billion each. I've helped to raise over $1 billion in venture capital and had about $100 billion in exits. When I'm trying to build, I'm not here for the crumbs. I'm here to build a massive Web3 empire. Not on DeFi, on the broad.
I'm sorry, what? You broke up there. Can you say it again, please, Jeff? Yeah, Jeff, connection's kind of bad. Can you repeat it, please? It's cutting out. No, you're still cutting out. You mind repeating what you said right now? Something empire, and then it kind of cut off right there. Jeff?
Connectivity. Hey, I just want to pull over here.
Jeff, you there? Okay, there you go.
We're pulling over right now. Is this better?
You're good now. You're good now.
Okay. Yeah,
it's fine. I can hear you now. That's good.
Okay.
So I think you cut off at Empire, and then breadcrumbs, and then it kind of cut off right there around there.
Yeah, we're trying to build a $1 billion company, not some small DeFi crumb play. But where I'm actually, the reason that I'm driving right now on this call, we got stuck in traffic outside of San Francisco. We're on our way to an event with a group called Elysian, which is a well-syndicated women's magazine for affluent women over 40 transitioning into the Web3 space. And so Elysian, yep. And so we're going to go speak. We're going to go speak at their event to their benefactors, as well as their it's going to be at a vineyard, Zakin Family Vineyards, and that family is one of the. Mr. Zakin has a successful executive himself. He's been part of 3 or 4 different data storage companies that have all been acquired for over $1 billion.
Wow!
So definitely trying to rub elbows with him, and get back in line.
I don't blame you.
Hopefully, he seems to have the Midas touch in the storage space, and so just going to try to build some big connections and just continue to push this forward with the biggest companies.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, man. And if someone wants to say buy some Affinity chain or fiber, how would someone? I mean, is it investable? Is it or is this more like is this private? Good luck, guys.
So I don't build businesses off of DeFi investments because of the regulatory environment. So I don't sell anything to any non-accredited investor at this point, especially. So that's my personal position. As for investing in fiber, there's nothing that anybody can do. Specifically, don't have a token because it would compete with our customers, like a Brew Labs or like some of these other people out here who want you to buy their token to be able to do something. That's not how we do things. And then with respect to infinite chains, we're not selling anything to anybody that's not an accredited investor. We're raising about $30 to $40 million from private equity firms, and we've already raised several $1 million from some large banks and angel investors that are accredited. But in terms of Neutronium Chain, I think Neutronium Chain at some point will be offering a pre-sale of their coin and likely be offering some nodes. Again, that's up to them. I can't speculate on their roadmap, but I would imagine at some point they do that. And then obviously Infinite Chains, if Infinite Chains ever does have an ICO, and there's an opportunity to open it up to individual investors in a 100% regulated and clearly defined legal landscape, and we would open that door.
Right.
But yeah, I'm playing a much bigger game at this point than DeFi, but I'm still excited about the opportunities that DeFi provide people.
Right. Oh, okay. Gotcha. So you're kind of going the more like the whole like VC tech route, SF kind of route, huh? I like that. That's
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
that's my background. Like I said, I've raised
It
about
sounds that way.
$1 billion
Series
from
A and those kind of things. You're like, I don't mess with individuals. I meet a few big dudes, and there you go.
Honestly, I would love to be able to bring more individuals into these types of investments, and that's what I love about DeFi is that it opens up more doors. It's just an unfortunate fact that being in the United States, the regulatory environment limits my ability to be able to do that without the potential of facing repercussions. And so I choose to not do that.
For you, it's not worth it. I get it. That makes sense. Oh, that's very cool. So basically, you have angel investors putting private money to come into the DeFi space to literally take it over. I like that. There you go.
No. So you're missing the point on that. So they have no interest in coming into the DeFi space at all. They have no interest in coming in. They want to come in. They want to be on blockchain, and they want to have solar powered data storage, and they want to use blockchain. Nobody has interest in the DeFi space on that side because it's because of the regulatory environment. But there are projects in the space that want to go and grow something big. And so we're lending our technology to the Neutronium chain to be able to go after the DeFi space in a big way, should they choose to. And that's about the extent of it.
And I saw your tech too. I guess I saw IPFS also on your tech, right? And that's kind of what you're using to kind of power your, I guess, gasless chain using hard drives to storage and that kind of stuff. So with that being said, who is going to be your largest competitor? Filecoin or something? Or I mean,
so on the file storage side, Filecoin would be our largest competitor within that side. The reality is that there are very large specialty data transfer companies that will also be our competitors, as well as large data storage companies, and then like your biggest players like Amazon, right? And so those are our big competitors. Filecoin, we actually have a lot of core members or I guess long-term members of the Filecoin community that are part of this project. And we actually took a lot of inspiration from Filecoin, what we built, but we actually removed their biggest bottleneck, which is their Lotus dependency. And so by removing that dependency, we're able to basically have a faster, quicker file storage, file transfer. And then we used a BitTorrent model for simultaneous download and mapping bits and where those bits are stored across multiple nodes. And so we end up with faster, less throttled Filecoin. That's our play, and that's how we combine that with solar powered, renewable energy. And now there's $1 billion idea. So that's the model that we're going after. So we'll see.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, if you need data storage, I know a guy who works in a very large corporate America.
Okay.
If you need like a hookup, I can send you his contact. And
I always love a hookup, John.
Yeah, I mean, he works in the largest hard drive company you could think of, and he's there. So if you want to know it, just hit him on a DL, and I'll set you up.
I love that.
We may get some deals for you going and get your thing going. Your massive IPFS empire, whatever you want to call it. So that's pretty cool, man. And right now you're hearing to Elisa, right, or something? Is that what it's called? Elisa?
Yeah, Elysian. Yeah.
Oh, Elysian. Sorry. Wow.
Yep.
So women over 40 are now going into Web3. Is that a thing now, or I mean, I don't know. I've never heard before. Is that a thing?
That's their play.
Really?
That's their play. They've got a massive community. They've got probably 100,000 women in their community.
Wow.
They're a magazine that's syndicated across the country. I'm going to this event in Napa for them, and then I'm going to an event for women of legislature in Charleston, South Carolina, in a couple months. And we're going to be at New York Fashion Week with them in January. All about educating women in their demographic about
Right.
crypto, or about the opportunity.
Wow.
So it's exciting.
It sounds exciting. Good for you, man. Well, I didn't expect you to be in a world, you know. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I had a great discussion with you, and I think I should probably let you go and get back on the road because you're parked right now, right? I don't want to hold you guys up. So unless there's something you want to say, I guess we'll wrap it up and call it a day, I suppose.
No, I wanted to apologize about being on the road.
No, you're good.
Got caught in that San Francisco traffic. We were in that hour loop where it's like the hour. It's always an hour. Like
Right.
Don Bailey called me and he's like, "How far out are you?" And I was like, "An hour." And he called me back about 45 minutes later. And he's like, "Hey, I thought we were gonna be here. Like, what are you like? Where are you?" I'm like, "About an hour out." And then literally, my wife called and she's like, "Where are you?" I'm about an hour out. So, we finally made it. Like, Like, you can start to see the hills here in Napa.
Yeah, beautiful.
Sitting in the worst rental car in America.
Oh no.
It still costs me $1,200, but we're making it. Making it
work. I like that.
It'll be a good time.
All right, Jeff. I'll let you go, man. And you know, in the future, we'll do it again and have a safe trip. And when you get there, have some wine, dude. It's really good not by here.
Absolutely. And next time I'll make sure I'm in a well-lit room with a nice camera and better microphone. And appreciate the time today. I appreciate the thorough questions. And I like what you had to say. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it. And no worries. And we'll do it again soon. Take care. And everyone, good night.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.